Several weeks ago, I insisted that all of these random characters we meet on The Mandalorian were all going to form this ragtag crew to help Mando on his mission to protect Baby Yoda. And you guys were not convinced, but I'm telling you right now that I'm gloating and I was right.
Yes. Yeah, I yeah, I thought that it was going to be more of each episode is going to introduce a few random characters, uh, and then we would move on and never see them again. And we kind of got both.
Yeah, we did
Yeah.
get a little bit of both, but I insisted that that was far too much screen time to devote to these characters without seeing them again.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, so we're going to get into that. This is Ignore the Bell. My name is Nathan.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Luke.
And we are doing a review and discussion of episode 7 of The Mandalorian. And remind me, what is the title of this one?
The Reckoning.
The Reckoning. And this is another episode directed by Deborah Chow, who did the really good episode 3. And she's also already attached to the Obi-Wan Kenobi series that we're going to get on Disney Plus. So, which is good because I think that she, so far from the 2 episodes that she's directed in this series, I would say that, she's proven herself to be really, really capable of doing live action Star Wars. More than just about anybody else that I've seen. So,
yeah,
I'm excited for that. All right, so we do have a sponsor for today. So our sponsor for today's episode is Stainless Steel Prams. When you just can't take the screaming anymore, seal up your baby in a floating steel vault and enjoy peace and quiet forever. And then there is a little legal disclaimer that they do have. Stainless Steel Prams LLC is not responsible for any suffocation or loss of life your baby may experience. Stainless Steel Prams, get yours today.
Yeah. Very thankful to have this sponsor that will definitely not have legal trouble later on.
So proud of this sponsor. Yeah, I mean, like that's like this Nick Nolte character is just like, oh, don't worry, I will fashion a new, pram or whatever bassinet for Baby Yoda, and then that thing is just a steel vault.
Yeah, that could have decapitated Baby Yoda. That thing closes and it just shuts. If his neck was there, he would have been dead.
I definitely thought about that because they closed it when he was the bassinet thing was facing the other way, so they couldn't see whether Baby Yoda was leaning out or anything. It was just that's probably fine. Let's close it up.
Or if his hand was reaching out, then they would have just cut off his arm, and then it would have been whoops.
Yeah.
I guess with the fall of the Empire, there's just no more Children's Protective Services in this galaxy anymore. So you can do whatever you want with infants, apparently.
Yeah.
Either that or it has some sort of elevator, door close sensor. But
you're relying then on that to always function. Because if that malfunctions at all, then goodbye, Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
I just don't even know how he's breathing in that thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the Force. He's using the Force. I can't. All right, folks. Well, I hope you enjoyed the discussion.
Oh man, I wish this discussion could go on forever.
Ignore the bell. We're gonna keep going, people.
All right, so this is episode 7, The Reckoning of the Mandalorian, and Mando cannot make good decisions. I don't get this. He trusts everybody that he shouldn't trust. Did anyone watching this show, I don't care whether it's a 4-year-old or an 80-year-old or anyone in between, did anyone say, oh yeah, you could totally go back to that planet and they're not going to double cross you? He was just oh, okay, they need my help and I'll just take Baby Yoda there.
Yeah.
Because Carl Weathers is asking me to go. He didn't seem to indicate that he knew that he was being set up.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he did say that he had no choice, but that was the most that we got.
But how does he have no choice? I have no choice. I have to go to the most dangerous place possible and put my entire trust in these people who definitely want to kill me.
Yep.
Yeah.
He wants the best for Baby Yoda. He wants to stop being hunted.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think that this would guarantee that anyway, but
Nope. All right. So I basically I'm going to give my brief comments on this, and then I think we'll get into the actual plot overview. And if you guys want to give your brief comments as well at the beginning, then we can do that. So I think that this is not a terribly well written episode, but it's a pretty well directed episode.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't know, the whole sequence with IG-11, is that?
Oh yeah.
What was that? Why was that in here?
Yeah, like
okay. I have notes on that part. I had to write that down. Can I read this out word for word?
Yeah.
Okay. This IG-11 sequence is so stupid. Is this supposed to be inspiring? Some triumph of the robot spirit as it learns to walk again? This was the dumbest thing ever. Like, we're supposed to be like, oh, he's coming back to, oh, look at that. He's doing like physiotherapy as he learns like to use his robot legs again. I'm like, just program the stupid thing.
I think it was supposed to be it's a brand new droid. It's not the same one as before.
That's fine,
I think that's what it's supposed to be.
Line. It could have just been a throwaway line, but instead it ended up coming across as it was supposed to be inspiring. Like, we're literally watching somebody learn to walk again, like this human being, where the doctor said, like, I'm sorry, you've like whatever to your vertebrae, and you're never gonna walk again. And it's like, you don't know me, you don't know like my background, I will. And then somehow for the entire film they slowly work their way back, and you're just so moved. And instead we get this, like, I don't know, maybe like 45-second sequence, maybe a minute or something. That was like,
it felt way longer than that.
I know. I was trying to. It felt really long, but I'm going. My sense of time was probably off on that, so I'll go low. I don't get that. Go ahead, Luke.
So pointless. Like, it was like, as soon as it started, I was like, oh, okay. Why do we need a flashback of him finding the droid and then bring him back, and then he learns to walk and to hold a cup without smashing it? Like, it was so dumb, because like, I'm just like, all right, you literally just told us, oh, he's different than he was before, and then we get the backstory.
And he developed a personality. Do we get to see that personality? No. Okay, cool.
Not at all. I mean, like, I don't understand. It felt like this was written by somebody who's never seen not just Star Wars before, but any science fiction movie or TV show ever. Like, they just invented the genre, and like they're like Isaac Asimov trying to establish the rules of robotics or whatever. You know what I mean? It felt like, wait, what are you doing? We already know that you can reprogram droids. Like, that's so well established in this universe.
Like, that was just like, I was surprised that they did that. I was just like, all right, I don't even really know what's going on right now, but I'm just watching this droid learn how to walk and hold a cup. Like,
the most pointless thing in this entire series so far, I would say. Because it's just like, I don't care. Like, just tell me, oh yeah, I brought him back. I fixed him up, and now he's good. Oh, okay, cool. That's all we needed. One line.
That's all that we needed. That's why I'm saying that this is, I think it's a poorly written episode, but it's well directed.
Yes.
Because the directing is good, and it looks like a good episode. But if you're listening to the dialogue at all, and just the story itself, the plotting of this just is bewildering. So I did want to say, so basically, can we start going through the episode then? So he gets this ridiculous message, somehow just says, I have no choice, I have to do this. He then goes back to that planet where there is Cara Dune, right? So I don't know what the planet is, but so I don't know about you guys, but that seemed like the kinkiest device ever, that she was attached to this other dude. Literally, like, oh, we want these people to fight, and we're going to gamble on it, so we're going to have some kind of laser beam attached to their crotches, so that way their crotches can't get too far from each other. And then it's like, literally, the dude's pulling on this thing in front of his crotch to pull her over. Like, I'm just, is this supposed to be, ooh, there's electricity between these two people? It was was such a weird thing. Like, and it's not like we haven't seen this kind of thing before of, like, I mean, human beings have done this for a while. You want two people to fight, so you chain them together, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like this is a brilliant idea. But why was it around their crotch?
Yeah.
Yeah, no idea. That was my question too. I'm like, this seems like, sure, it's a cool match, but why is it there? Of all
Yeah.
places?
This is strangely sexual, and I'm not really comfortable with this. I don't get this.
Yeah.
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 Anyway, I just wanted to point that out that I thought that was strange. I don't
Yeah.
know who had that bright idea. Put it right on the crotch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so then he recruits her, and and it was basically, no, I won't do this. I'm retired. I don't need money. And then it's like, oh, former imperial people. And then it's like, okay. And it's like, well, that was easy. Like barely an inconvenience, because
Yeah.
it's just, okay, that, again, poor writing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. And
Yeah.
we see this again with Nick Nolte's character, where it's just, and I don't want to skip ahead too much, but just,
You go ahead.
yeah, it's, he's like, nah, I'm retired. I'm not going to do all this stuff. Oh, you rebuilt that droid? Yes, I did. Can you help me? All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what? I don't think there was even a moment where he changed his mind. It's just like one moment that he's just like, no, I'm not going to help you. And then another, he's like, sure, I'll hop on board as long as I can bring my animals with me.
Right. Yeah. As long as I can bring my animals. It was such a confusing thing. Like, if I were a character in this scene, I would just say, what was it that convinced you? Like, I genuinely want to know, what was it that changed your mind? Because you were just adamant that you weren't going to. At least we had some stupid line for Cara Dune of, why she ends up being convinced to do this. But yeah, we don't get that with Nick Nolte's character.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
Like, I don't even understand why he needed to bring the animals or where they would even fit on the ship. And like,
I know just why, but it's not a good reason.
It was just like, this is like just very weird, and like basically all of it just felt like all the stuff that they wanted to do like earlier in the show, like with introductions to characters, like let's just pretend we did that and then we'll throw in the things we need now. So like, also let's say what their names are, which I can't remember any of them, but like I'm just like, it felt like
you are right. We did get that. It's, oh, I'm this, like, this is my name, by the way.
Yeah, it's just like, now he's just like, I have a name, and then he tells him what.
Yeah, he literally says that.
And like, it's just like, oh well, I don't know or care what your name is at this point, so.
Right.
Like,
don't call me an Ugnaught. That's my species name. Call me by my actual name. Well, then tell us it, when you first meet.
Good point.
Exactly.
Good point. It's somebody like correcting somebody on its, like, actually, that's not how you pronounce my name. And it's like, we've known each other for months.
Yeah.
Why did you wait until now?
Yeah.
And it's not like he's a wimpy character. He's very... why he would hold off like that. Sorry, did I cut out there?
I think I did.
Oh, okay. I was just saying that he's an authoritative character, so it doesn't make sense why he would hold off on giving his actual name.
Yeah.
But so the reason why I think there's two reasons why we ultimately get the animals that come along. I think one, it's because they're like, people are going to wonder, what about his animals? Are they just going to starve to death while he goes on this mission? And it's like, which could have easily been solved from my neighbor over there. We'll take care of them.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Chuck, can you please feed these things while I'm gone? You got it, buddy. Right. And then that could have settled it. But I think that's only partially it. I think they wanted to invoke Western imagery by having them on horseback when they like get off of the ship, because there's 3 of them and all 3 of them are on this like dinosaur back.
Yeah.
And and then you see the other guys all standing there. It's kind of like a shootout scenario, like imagery. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. To me, it doesn't really work doesn't make sense. Like the idea of that this is a space western, then it's like, okay, you can get other substitutes for horses. Like just speeders are substitutes for horses. It's like, you know, because like the motorcycle was, you know, considered like it's the iron horse.
Yeah.
Right? Like or a steel horse. It's the idea is that it's a substitute for it. We still get the imagery there. Why do you think that you have to go back to this living creature to ride to invoke Western imagery?
Yeah, I don't understand that. Like, literally, there are speeders used in this, and like,
and you see how superior they are.
Yeah, they catch
what I've been saying all along.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I don't know. I just am like, that's basically the main reason why I was like, I don't understand why they need to bring the dinosaurs, because they could just get on speeders and it would be the exact same thing but better.
Yeah.
So.
I have a question for you guys, and I know that there's not really going to be a good answer for this, but my question is, why in the Star Wars universe, I've got two questions with this. Why, number one, do they land nowhere near where they need to be when they've got this ship that can literally, like, you know, travel, like, you know, at light speed? And they could just, like, why do they always land in the wrong spot? And then when they realize that, why don't they just say, oh, let's just get back on the ship, kind of hover over to where we need to be and land there? Why do they always go by foot or on these like small little vehicles? First of all, my second question is, why doesn't every starship have a couple speeders just hanging around? Like, you see people in RVs driving down the highway all the time. They'll have a motorcycle on the back or some bicycles or, you know, even like a small vehicle towing behind it. Like, why isn't that just like a standard thing to have? It would solve so many problems.
Yeah. I mean, in this particular episode, I think that, well, when they land on Navarro, then they were like meeting up with these guys outside town, and they land like pretty much right next to them, don't they?
I don't know. I'm not saying you can't come up with instances. I'm saying that it is so often in Star Wars that they just land nowhere near where they're supposed to be, and then it becomes this whole adventure to get there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
That's what I was saying. I'm like, I know there's not a good answer for this. So, all right. So he recruits all of these people. He doesn't want to have this droid, this IG-11 go along, but of course it's going to. And anyway, then they meet up with Carl Weathers and his crew, and then we get this lovely scene where they get attacked by prehistoric pterodactyls.
Yeah. Well, I also want to mention that at no point does Carl Weathers explain how he is still alive, which I appreciate because we already know it. But at the same time, like, wouldn't Mando just be like, I shot you in the chest?
But you do see that he didn't get a new blazer. He's still got the hole in his actual vest or his coat. I'm just looking, and this is just in the Wikipedia description, but apparently they got attacked by mynocks. Those things look way bigger than the mynocks that we saw before.
Yeah.
I guess we saw
different.
Yeah, totally.
Like, the mynocks were like putting their face right up on the glass of the Millennium Falcon, and they were like doing some weird thing. These look like completely different things.
Well, were those the mynocks the ones that were on the glass? I thought that the mynocks were just the ones that were flying around outside of the ship. I thought there were two separate creatures in the cave form, because there were like the things that were like flying around in there, but they were really small.
Really small. So I guess maybe to some degree, if you say, well, like there's bats that are like this big, and then a different species of bat that's like this big. Legitimately, there are gigantic bats, and so maybe it's a mynock species that's like this big, and then there's mynocks that are maybe. I'm trying here, people.
But it's honestly just a pterodactyl.
It's a pterodactyl. Yeah, they get attacked by pterodactyls, which is just a plot device to get Carl Weathers' character to change his mind about turning over Baby Yoda.
Yeah, Which
all that was.
By the way, they have horrible aim, especially the girl like Xena. She's like she's using the minigun and like cannot hit a pterodactyl when it's grabbing the dinosaur.
She's supposed to be this warrior.
Yeah. Like it's just like how you have a minigun and you can't hit this pterodactyl that's massive and grabbing a dinosaur. Like it's just standing there.
Troopers have got the same aim as stormtroopers, apparently.
Yeah.
It's a fair fight then when they go to battle.
That's why the war was so intense.
Yeah, that's why this
no
war
one
has
could
been
hit
endless.
anything.
It's just like all these people. It's like, I've been in 320 shootouts and I've never been wounded once. Of course, I haven't hit anyone either. It's just these endless battles.
Yeah, this is why the wars go on for so long.
Families don't even care.
If you just give them like an assault rifle, then these wars would be over instantly. But they're so focused on, we have to use laser guns.
Right. Yeah. Families are just like, I'm going off to war, Mom and Dad. All right, we'll see you whenever. You're not going to get hurt.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, Carl Weathers has poison, which he got like through the scratch on his arm, and I don't know if we've ever seen this before in Star Wars. Luke, you might have to help us out here, but Baby Yoda heals him, like by using the Force, but it's like, I thought that he would just like pull out the poison or something.
I thought too.
But it literally heals the wound.
Yep.
Like it seals itself back up. Even after Baby Yoda is done, then like it still keeps healing. And like, I don't. So is this a thing that has ever been mentioned?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And so yeah, I wasn't too surprised, especially because we did see Baby Yoda try to do it earlier. One of the things I'm confused about is how does Baby Yoda know how to do this? Because like he's wounded. I must just use the Force and then I'll heal him. And I was like, oh,
instinct that his species has just got, like, they're so Force sensitive and Force intuitive that it's just he's just responding to the prompting of the Force. Is my reading of it.
But, like,
I also want to say that he's wise beyond his years, but that doesn't make sense because he's 50 years old.
Right. Yeah, he right. Wiser than his mental years.
So, Luke, can you tell us where we've seen this before?
I don't really know 100% where, but I have heard of it a few times. And this probably doesn't count, but the main one is like in the Revenge of the Sith video game, where you can just like, as you're fighting, you can just like use a button and your character just like stops fighting and just like stands there for a couple minutes just like healing themselves. And like, so but I think all the times that it's come up is in like Legends. So like I think this is the first time we're seeing it or even hearing of it in canon, which is very interesting because like you would assume that everyone would do it if they knew about it, because like especially like there's like one particular episode of the Clone Wars where Anakin is like basically about to die and they're just like, well, we're just gonna have to try and heal him the best we can. And then but like if they knew about this, then they would definitely use the Force to heal him. So like I mean, I guess no one ever finds out about how to heal people with the Force, and only Baby Yoda knows how to do it. Which,
like wouldn't like let's say like Palpatine heal Vader?
Yeah.
Right? Because Palpatine presumably is going to be more powerful than little Baby Yoda and has been studying things for a lot longer, and especially with whatever the hell we're going to get in Rise of Skywalker, it seems that he's got a whole bunch of stuff that we're just not even aware of. Wouldn't he be like, you know, you're wounded, but I can heal it, and then he like does skin grafts through the Force or something?
There was, I guess, an alternate history that was presented where basically if Vader had not, had his limbs chopped off and everything, then he just turned around and killed the Emperor because he's like, now I'll rule the galaxy. So it might have been, I don't know, Palpatine's fear of that, where he was just like, I'll keep him on life support and, he'll just be my puppet.
Yeah, also because apparently there is like basically what I've heard is that Palpatine could like make a suit way better than he did for Darth Vader, which would have made it so he would have been like completely fine and basically just Anakin in a suit, but he wanted to like punish him for failing.
That's such an a-hole move.
Yeah.
It's just like giving somebody who becomes like a quadriplegic or something, just give them the crappiest wheelchair possible. Like, don't give them a rascal or a scooter or something. Just like, I don't like how you got injured, so I'm just gonna punish you forever. What a jerk.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I guess like yeah. Also, I think this is the most the only time and the most we've ever referenced the Star Wars Episode 3 video game, and yeah, I just find that very fun because I like that game. But anyway, but yeah, so Palpatine totally could have made Vader better, but like I just
Well,
am like,
now this is making me think that this is going to be the explanation for how he's back in Rise of Skywalker.
Right. Because remember, I said that this episode is intentionally being released just before Rise of Skywalker, and I wonder if there's going to be something in this that's going to then, come into play with Rise of Skywalker. And you're right, Tyler. This could be it.
Yeah.
But Tyler, I do think like that was my understanding too, that like it would have made more sense, and especially if you follow anybody. Like, if you talk to anybody who's a pretty serious fan of fantasy, of the fantasy genre, then they'll talk about magic systems, right? And this is a big thing within the fantasy genre, is establishing whatever the magic system is within that, universe of which the story is occupying. So it seems inconsistent with what we know about the Force, the way he ends up healing Carl Weathers. That if he did extract the poison, we know how the Force works. We know that you can basically manipulate objects through telekinesis, essentially. So even though he can't physically reach his hand inside to Carl Weathers, like he'll be able to find the poison in him through the Force and then extract it. But instead he just does something that just to me seems so inconsistent with what we've seen with the Force that there would have been an easier way to heal him. But again, in this kind of like throwaway scene, I feel like this just opens up this whole other can of worms in the Star Wars universe, and I don't think that this was carefully considered.
Yeah. And like especially because like you would expect that he's just going to pull out the poison, because in Westerns, like if someone gets bit by a snake, then you see someone like suck out the poison and spit it out.
Totally, that's a great point.
And then so like it's kind of set up to be that way, and then he just heals the entire wound, and it's like, okay, like are you telling me no Jedi has ever tried this, but Baby Yoda is just like, I'm gonna heal this guy's wound instinctively? Like it's just like what? Like, and no one else has tried this apparently. Like
yeah. The only thing that I can hope for, because I don't even want to say that I think that it will happen, because I honestly don't. I think that this is just a throwaway line and something that, is completely made up for this one scene. But the only thing is Giancarlo Esposito, I think I got his name right, who comes in at the end, the Moff.
Okay.
Then he says, you think you know what you have, but you have no idea. So maybe this is like, I don't know, some incredible Jedi, not just like what we think.
But then like, how does he never come up later in like the sequel trilogy? Like that is my problem. Like
point.
It's either he has to die before the end of the series, or no. Like, because it's just like, I just am like,
you're right, Luke.
Like, how can you bring up someone who's so powerful and then be like, oh, but he has nothing to do with what happens in this coming war and possibly the whole fight between the Jedi and Sith? Like, he's just like, nah, I am actually just not going to be a part of this fight. I'm just only here to be really powerful and do nothing. Like,
absolutely, and that's all really valid and a really fair criticism. I think another point, though, is that when that whatever Moff character says that, it's like the stupidest line possible, because he says, you think you know what you have. And I'm like, No, they don't. They have no idea. They don't know what species it is. They don't know the significance. They don't know its name. They don't know like anything about this. What do you mean they think they know what they have? They have no clue what they have.
Right.
It's
Nick
not like they're...
Nolte's
Yeah.
character is the only one who kind of knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I think I've heard of this before.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's just a totally vague thing. But it's not like this is a case of mistaken identity or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you think it's this creature, but it's really not. It's like they just don't know what it is at all. So whatever it is going to be a revelation to them. It's
and I just like also there's like a line that he says like the Moff, and he's like, he means more to me than you could possibly imagine, or something like that. And I'm like, what? Like, how? Why does he mean so much to you? Like,
yeah. It's odd. I feel like they're trying to set something up, and I hope that it does have a payoff, but I am concerned that it doesn't, and that this is just introduction to the main villain type of speech.
My big problem with this is that it feels like it should have come at like the halfway point of the season.
Yes.
Because like, I'm just like, all right, we're on the second last episode. We're now being introduced to the main villain. We're left on a cliffhanger as Baby Yoda is being taken. And I'm like, why are we getting this with one episode to go? Like, you're going to wrap all of this up in one episode? Unless you're going to leave with a cliffhanger and be like, oh, guess what? It's going to be the payoff is going to be the first episode of season 2. And if that happens, I'm just
going to be like maybe like a year and a half from now.
Like...
Yep. And the only other real question that I have for you guys is, do you think that Nick Nolte's character is really dead? I feel like this series doesn't have the guts. I genuinely believe that.
Yeah.
I think he's going to say, my species has an extra strong hide. And, then he has to live with all the guilt of like, I failed in protecting the baby, and then he's going to have to go after it, and that's going to motivate him. I honestly think that's where it's going, because I don't think they have the guts to kill off characters.
Yeah, I'm concerned that he's not really really gone.
Yeah.
You know me, I am like the eternal optimist of Star Wars.
Right, but you know why I'm saying it though, right? Like because you've got that fear.
Because we didn't even see him get killed, so like
we didn't see him get slayed in any way. He might just be unconscious. Like I'm looking in part because I'm kind of reacting to this. I'm seeing like and I understand it's just whoever writes this stuff on Wikipedia, but they do say in the episode description that like the stormtroopers go after him, kill him, and then like grab Baby Yoda, and I'm like, it's not clear to me that they killed him. It's just not. So did you guys have anything else to really say with this episode?
Well, let me think. Because they enter the city, right? And there are all the stormtroopers. There are more stormtroopers than they thought. So this new character, who I believe is played by Giancarlo Esposito, the Moff, then he just kills Werner Herzog's character, and somehow knows that they don't actually have Baby Yoda there.
Well, he doesn't kill the what's his name? The guy
Werner Herzog.
Yeah. He doesn't kill him, because I thought it was Mando who kills him.
I thought so too. I thought Mando and Cara Dune, Xena Warrior Princess, I thought they all started shooting all at once, but then there was crossfire from the other dudes from outside, and it was kind of in the chaos of it. You couldn't quite tell what was going on until afterwards, and you're like, oh, those windows got blown out, and then there's stormtroopers on the other side, or those whatever they're called,
Death Troopers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that it was based on like the way that the Moff like ended off his speech. It seemed like he was setting it up to like, you're about to die because
Yeah.
And so I think that it was just, and it was like a little bit unclear there. I'd have to rewatch the scene, but I was trying to see like which way all the blaster
Yes.
fire was
It looked like
going.
the blaster that killed
And
him came from behind, though.
oh,
Like
okay.
that's what I thought anyway. But
Yeah, because I only really saw like blaster fire coming in through the wall, and I was like, well, I didn't even know that it was coming through the wall or window, I guess. Like I thought that it was coming from the little device thing, like the
Right.
um,
Mhm.
communications thing. I was like, oh, did that thing just like explode with a bunch of blaster fire?
But yeah, I don't know. It was a weird death. I felt like I don't know. I felt like I don't know. Like I thought it was done pretty good, but a little confusing, especially because they don't show anyone pull the trigger, and then it's just like suddenly we're in a bar fight now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciated the fact though that things got more complicated because I didn't think that this
Yes.
like, and you knew that the Werner Herzog character, that he wasn't the big bad villain of this,
Yeah.
that he's just working on behalf of somebody, that you know there's higher ups, right? That
Yeah.
he's like a level 1 boss or something.
Yeah.
And so I appreciated the fact that we actually that we're starting to get into, you know, a bigger story with this, and that we're getting more significant characters involved in this. And I do like, because I thought, because there is some interesting stuff going on here, because his character, he says, and this is basically what I said, what the series has essentially done with The Last Jedi, where he says that the Empire makes every system, or the Empire improves every system it touches. Safety, prosperity, trade opportunity, peace, and then compare Imperial rule to what is happening now. That
Mhm.
what Star Wars has been doing under Disney, to me, is it has basically complicated it, but I think accidentally, making it appear as though the Empire is actually better than the Resistance, than the Rebels, that the First Order is better than
Yeah.
the Resistance. And I liked the fact that when you get this other villainous character who comes in who doesn't care about Werner Herzog, doesn't really seem to care that he dies or that the stormtroopers die because he's disappointed in him. I'm like, yeah, can we kind of get back to the evil characters being evil? Because up until this point, it's been like there's more and more ammunition for my side of the debate, which is I continue to get more and more on the side of the Empire going, I'm not really sure what's so evil about these guys anymore, especially in
Yeah.
comparison to the way the Resistance treats its own people. And so I'm just like, and Werner Herzog does make a good point. He's just like, we just make things better. Like, and I've been saying this for a while. The only, like, what's so bad about them? Like, in them trying to pull new systems into the Empire, into the First Order. Yes, there's a lot of resistance to that, a lot of hostility. But ultimately, once you're in, all that they really want is they just want to tax you. They don't want to kill people. They want to establish laws and orders in order to pull in more resources to be able to trade and to tax people, to make money. And the only reason why you're getting violence is because of resistance against that. And so like this story that Disney has been telling is essentially saying, trust us, the evil guys are evil. And then you say, but what's so evil about them? And they're like, and there doesn't seem to be anything ultimately bad about the bad guys.
Yeah. I mean we had talked about this before, and I think specifically with The Last Jedi, the way that it leaves things off with Ben and Rey, then Ben says like you're still holding on to the past, like it can be something different, and I think that is hopefully where the story is going, where it is
Right.
this kind of completely new thing, like the New Republic didn't work, the First Order didn't work, the Empire didn't work, let's build something new that is combining elements of both to make this kind of balance, if you will. And I think that you can definitely make the argument that there isn't enough to say what's, what the resistance would add to to the
Right.
Empire.
Right.
But I think that is sort of what they were going for, and so this does kind of reinforce that, where it says like, well, and specifically with the end of the last episode, with the New Republic just blowing up that that whole ship without a second thought, or
Yes,
station.
exactly. Who's the
And-
bad guy in that situation?
Yeah, no, I absolutely, and I was thinking about this when I was re-listening to our discussion. Like, they could easily have made it the Empire, who, like, it
Yep.
could have been an Empire, ship, or First Order, or whatever you want to call them. And yeah, the Empire shows up, and they're like, "Yeah, one of our prisoners, is on there," and then blows it up. But instead, then they chose for it to be the New Republic.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
That's where I'm saying that Disney, I think, has accidentally made the bad guys seem pretty good and the good guys seem pretty bad, that they flipped it. But I don't think that this was some intentional subversive statement about morality and really question the ethics of which side you're on. I think it's just incompetence, legitimately.
Yeah.
I think this is just, they have no idea that they stumbled upon this, that they've been doing this. And I'm kind of, to some degree, hoping that the Mandalorian, in doing this, is pulling it back. Like, please show the bad. If your villains are not villainous, then what the hell am I watching?
Yeah.
right.
I totally agree. Especially, because I was going to bring up that line too, because I was like, before with our like Last Jedi discussion, I was like kind of seeing seeing what you were talking about, and I was like, oh, okay, like, yeah, I can definitely see that the heroes do not seem like the heroes anymore. But then, like, in this episode, I'm like, yeah, he just like brings up every point as to why the Empire is better, and I'm like,
Right.
oh, he's got a very good
He's
point.
making a good case.
Yeah.
Legitimately.
So I'm like, I don't even know, like, I just
Yeah, it's interesting because, of course, Star Wars has always been defined by it being a battle between good and evil,
Right.
Yeah.
and it's just so much more complicated now. And yeah, I don't know whether they did it on purpose or not, but I like to believe that that it maybe was actually done on purpose, or that they have at least leaned into it after the fact.
But I don't think that it's more complicated now. I think it's more simplistic. It's a battle of, like, not quite good, and then people opposing not quite good. Just saying, we don't really like you, First Order, so we're going to do everything to, like, we're going to lose everyone on our side. Life is just going to be vanquished, like, here and there and everywhere else, because we oppose you. And it's like, well, what exactly do you oppose? Well, you're not the New Republic. But what are we doing? Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like, because the only reason that they are destroying anything is because people are resisting joining them.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But, like, because, and I think that you are kind of getting into, like, if you're looking at this, if, let's say, if you go back into the classics, into the study of classics of ancient history, if you're looking at the Roman Empire, then I think this is essentially, and I'm sure, like, I know this is what George Lucas was playing around with, was calling them the Empire, right? And, like, the Roman Empire essentially did this. Like, you had the Greek Empire, right, and all these other empires before this. But I believe it's supposed to be a stand-in for the Roman Empire, but in space. And so the Roman Empire takes over all of Europe and huge portions of the Near East. And then I think from the Romans' point of view, they're like, what exactly did we do that was so awful? We brought you running water. We brought you roads. We brought you a legal system. We brought you a justice system. We're protecting you from invaders. And it's like, oh, your own, like, culture and identity kind of got, like, quashed, like, your local, but they didn't even, like, quash that. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like they're bringing all of this stuff, and then people are resisting, and they're like, what are we doing that's so bad?
Right. Yeah.
Right. And I understand that it's more complicated than that, but I'm saying it, like, as far as Star Wars being an analog for that, then the more I watch what Disney's doing, the more I'm saying I don't even really know what they're opposing anymore. And that's a real problem if I don't understand who the bad guys are.
Yeah.
It's also really interesting, of course, because people refer to Disney, as the Disney Empire. And so them trying to reframe the Empire as the good guys, that it's just like...
But I think it's accidental.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, but that's the thing, though, is that as Disney continues to, do these corporate takeovers of other media corporations, and they just become bigger and bigger and bigger, and they're kind of bullying these other intellectual properties, like, what we've seen with Sony, with Spider-Man and all of that, then it's like, ultimately, it's just like, but I think Disney's kind of got the attitude of, what the hell are we doing that's so wrong? We want to bring you, like, Marvel movies on a scale that you've never been able to see before. We want to bring you all of your favorite superheroes. We want to provide you with so much Star Wars content. Why does everyone hate us? Right? And I think, and you kind of look at this and you're like, wait, so, like, is that supposed to actually now be a representation for the Empire? So is the Resistance now really, like, the bad guys? Is, like, the Resistance Sony or something like this? Is the Resistance 20th Century Fox? And we're just like, yeah, get out of here. Just let them take
Sony and Warner Brothers banding together and fighting against Disney.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish there was more to it so that we could, like, really make some good comparisons, because that would be super interesting from, like, a meta fiction standpoint of, this commentary on contemporary, like, media corporations. And
if only Rey had joined Kylo Ren, because then it would be like, this is the 20th Century Fox joining the Empire.
I still think that would have been the most interesting plot point in that film.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I'm still really hoping that for Rise of Skywalker, they do come together in some way and, I don't know, forge some sort of new union that is completely different than the Empire, completely different from the New Republic, from the First Order and the Resistance, all of that. But yeah, I'm still holding on to hope. And that's honestly all it is, because I don't know. Like, I don't know if I even believe that's going to happen.
But Kylo Ren told you, you're still holding on. And you're not supposed to do that.
I'm not holding on to the past. I'm saying there should be something new.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but there's something.
But yeah, okay. So for this episode, I don't know. What do you guys? So I guess we can bring it back to that, like to this episode anyway. But this is kind of like a side note, but I do want to just mention how there's like a Imperial troop transport that comes in, which is from the show Star Wars Rebels, and this is the second thing that they brought from that show to this show, which is really interesting because at first it was the Loth cat, which is like just a cat from the planet Lothal, which was in episode 4, and it hisses at Baby Yoda, and then now we get the troop transport. So like I find it very interesting that they have like these things that were in the animated shows and they're using them in live action. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, and we do also get specific mentions to the Battle of Mandalore, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which I figured you would probably be glad to hear.
Yes, I was.
So I've got basically one last question for you guys, and if you have other stuff, then we can keep talking. But my question is, where do you think this thing's gonna go as far as the last episode of the season? And because I'll kind of answer it because I don't know if that's a clear enough question. Basically, I think it's going to be incredibly unsatisfying, which I don't have a problem with. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that we're going to get any kind of resolution to anything. I mean, I imagine that Mando's probably not even going to have Baby Yoda back by the end of this season. Because it sets up season 2 really well, where
Mhm.
he learns more about what this like creature is and the significance and what the first order type of people, like this proto first order, what they're planning to do with it. And then he's like, I've got to stop them. I
Mhm.
think is kind of where it's heading, which it's just, my only thing is, while I think that's a good place to go, I am a little not disappointed, but it's not a satisfying place to end, where if it does do that, then we're gonna have to wait so long until we get season two. If Disney's going to have the same kind of production schedule as Netflix has with its shows, because Netflix, it's often like 18 months until you get another season. Do we know when season two comes out?
I don't know that we know when it's going to come out, but I know that they are currently in production for it.
Mhm.
Right, but that still doesn't change anything, because the reason, and the Netflix's explanation of why they have such a long turnaround compared to traditional network television is they say, because we end up releasing them simultaneously, all of the episodes, then we don't have a number of months to continue working and editing and doing post
Mhm.
production on later episodes. But
Yeah.
Disney isn't doing it, but it's still a pretty condensed amount of time. It's not like this is something that's going to be on like what we have with the CW, with all of the DC shows, where you've got, they're going to be on TV for like 10 months or whatever, like 8 months, whatever it ends
Yeah.
up being. So, and you've got all of these different episodes where you only have to wait a few months until the next season starts up.
Mhm.
So I'm saying from a narrative standpoint, I feel like it's not going to be great if they do kind of leave it that unresolved,
Yeah.
because of how long I think we're going to have to wait.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I think is a problem with Netflix, is that like it just kills hype.
It does,
Because
yeah.
like especially with like Daredevil season 3, like I watched that and I was so excited about it, and then I'm like struggling to find someone else who has seen it, and I'm like, but come on, people, I need you to watch it because it's a good show. But like if no one watches it, then it's not going to continue. And of course, it did get canceled, and
Right.
which was possibly not quite the reason, but like
Yeah.
still. And even with like Stranger Things, how they had like a massive chunk in between seasons, and it's like it's just like it's hard to get excited about the show again when like
But they're
you
at least
saw it.
wrapping up storylines at the end of each
Yeah,
season.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
um
basically where it's going to go. Oh, the Demigorgon's going to come back in the next one. But at least at this point, there's a sense of calm. I don't think
yeah,
that The Mandalorian is going to end like that with season one. I think it's not going to end
yeah.
with, I've now got Baby Yoda back and we're now in a safe place and what could possibly go wrong. And then they have one final little clip of some villain like, I know where they are. I think it's going to be like just a complete unresolved story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that that's the legacy of The Empire Strikes Back,
Yeah.
where
Mm.
I think that Disney or Lucasfilm, whichever, thinks that that is the best way to end a continuing story,
Mhm.
and that it's just, oh yeah, well, we have to leave all our heroes in different places, and who knows what's going to happen next, but at least they're together. Um,
Yeah.
and that, yeah, I could definitely see that being the case where, yeah, um, Mando and Carl Weathers and Cara Dune, um, and maybe also Nick Nolte's character,
Yes.
um, then they're,
Yes.
they're all on the ship leaving after winning the battle but losing the war, or the war isn't over yet, I guess. And that Giancarlo Esposito is still going to be around, but
Yep.
they're still going to have to fight him. Um,
And they're going to have to get
and
Baby Yoda back because he's going
yeah,
to be Han Solo at Jabba's
Mhm.
palace.
yes, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's going to be all of them on what is it? The Razor Crest. I
Mhm.
think that's the name of his
I
ship.
believe so.
Think so,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're all going to be on there, and they're going to be like, well, at least we're all together. We're in this together. We'll help
Uh-huh.
you, Mando. Don't worry, and all that. And it's going to be Yay.
Yeah.
IG-11 is going to help out.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm starting to think that it might be Nick Nolte might stay dead, and the reason like for that would be like to have IG-11 be like, I need to get revenge for the person who brought me back and helped me get back so I could walk and to hold cups and stuff, because he's got personality now.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
I think that's what's gonna happen. I think that's a
So-
really convincing way of doing it.
yeah.
Convincing, like you're convincing me that that's what's gonna happen,
Mhm.
because I really don't think that he's gone. I don't think this show has guts.
Yeah, and so anyway, I also don't think that like I basically agree with both of you. I think that it's going to be a very unsatisfying ending, but I also think that it's not going to be too long until it comes back because with like DC's streaming service, then they do the show Titans, and that ended on like a cliffhanger, which was not a cliffhanger. It was just basically they didn't end the season or anything like that. They just were like, oh, you know what? I don't think people will like the last episode, so we're gonna wait, fix it, and then release it with the new season. So that's what they did, and then but they released it a year after. So like, well, a year after the first episode of season 1 was released, and that's when they did it. And they're basically doing it the same way as Disney Plus is doing their shows. So I'm thinking that Disney Plus is going to release it a year later. And so I don't think there will be as much of a wait time as Netflix, but like I also don't really think that helps with having a story end unsatisfyingly. So yeah.
Because as far as I understand it, they are currently filming of The Mandalorian, and however long it takes for them to edit it, then that'll be, however long it takes for the next season to.
But it's
come
not
out.
just editing, though. It's all of the special effects that they have to add in, right? It's all that post-production stuff and then editing. And if they have to do reshoots at all, and we'll see. I don't know how much Lucasfilm is going to listen to responses of fans, because then they might have to rework some of these storylines.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And
I hope that they that they are considering that, but I also kind of feel like they're not.
And I don't know what no, I know. And I don't know what, I mean, if they do listen, I think they listen, but they then just say the fans are wrong. And then they double down on stuff that fans don't like.
Yeah.
Trying to like change the fans' mind instead of the fans changing Lucasfilm's mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so I could see season 2 starting as early as like end of July.
I'd be shocked if that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know when the Obi-Wan series is coming out? Because that's a big thing as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't even
and
know
when
if
are
they
the
started anything on that.
when are the Marvel shows coming out? Because those are also going to be a big thing.
Yeah, I believe some of them, or at least like one of them, is coming this year, like 2020. But I'm not really sure. And then also because Star Wars is also doing a Cassian Andor like show for him, and like I don't know when that's coming out. I haven't heard like anything about that. Like all I've heard is that that's a thing, and I don't know if they're actually like working on it right now. So like, yeah, they're like, I don't know. I think Disney Plus right now is just like really piling on how many projects they're doing, and like they're like it's gonna take like quite a while though, but they've already announced it, and I think that they should have waited to announce things until like it's closer.
I think they should have waited to release the service. Because if they just don't have enough original content, I think they're going to end up losing a lot of subscribers before these new things come out. Because that's what I'm saying, is that if it ends up being a full 12 months without The Mandalorian, and if we don't have the Obi-Wan series or the Cassian Andor series, and if we get one Marvel TV show next year, I think their subscribers to this service are going to go way down. They're going to start bleeding subscribers pretty heavily.
there is a large chunk of fans that I think will stay because in February there's also the Clone Wars season 7, which is being added, which I'm excited for, and I know a lot of other people are. So I think that'll keep a large chunk of Star Wars fans, especially if like they're uploading like weekly, like they are with this. I don't know if they are, but if they do that, then that will keep them for like quite a while.
Nobody's going to cancel in the middle of that. That is true.
Yeah. So I don't really know, like, I don't really know when other things are being released, though. It doesn't seem like it's going to be all that soon. So.
Yeah. And I mean, the other thing is that, they were really pushing for people to get the yearly subscriptions. Mm-hmm. So then everybody's going to be, holding on until next November. And then, that's when they're going to, like, if in like September or October, then that's when The Mandalorian season 2 comes out. Or even, if it comes out at the very end of October and the season goes all the way past when people need to renew.
That'd be the smart business thing to do.
Yeah. Then people are just going to be like, well, I guess I'll keep going because I want to see how this season ends. So
that'd be a very Disney way to approach it.
Yeah.
So, okay, guys, I figured out how to really fix this show. Okay, it just kind of came to me. Okay, this is what we need at the end of episode 8. I don't care what happens, even with Baby Yoda. They can either recapture him or not capture him, but I think it's probably better if he's still away with this Moff dude, and they have to go after him, right? But everybody regroups, and then the most important question of the series, okay, you got this? It's going to be Mando taking off his helmet, and guys, wait for it, and he's actually a droid. Oh!
Wow.
He's going to be an IG-11 unit or something. I fixed it. Now it's like, what? So he's one of those self-hating droids.
He's been debating on whether to self-destruct or not this whole time.
Right. That's right. I've lost Baby Yoda. I will self-destruct.
Yeah.
Either that or he takes off the helmet and the ears pop out. He's a Yoda creature. That's why he's so obsessed with protecting Baby Yoda.
Yeah. That's good too. Yeah. Because this whole thing of because I feel like they've just teasing us and teasing us and teasing us with what's under the helmet, and then he's just gonna be like an average looking dude, just like hello. And instead, I'm like, that's not gonna be exciting. Or it's like, oh, he's so handsome or something, even though that would make no sense because I imagine his complexion would be all messed up. His hair is gonna be disgusting. He's had this thing on for years, right? But he's gonna come out and he's gonna be handsome. It's gonna be like a shampoo commercial where you're like, and anyway, but I'm like, for most fans, I think they're going to be like, okay, so he looks like a dude. But if it's some kind of great, he's a droid or he's a Yoda creature. All right, now you've saved the entire first season for me. Because they've been obsessed with those questions of his whole hatred of droids, even though we get it, and this whole what's under the helmet, and we're like probably a head. We get it.
It'll be like in Terminator Salvation, spoilers for that, where it turns out that he doesn't know he's a robot, and then he gets shot or something, and then he reaches at the wound, and he's like, "Wow, I feel metal underneath of my skin," and then it's just he's a Terminator basically, and he's like, "I did not know I was a robot, but now."
I don't think that's a spoiler because I'm pretty sure that was in the trailer, but
I don't know, but anyway, but I think where this show needs to go is that they need to go more into because I don't want this to just be a really, really small scale show, which they're not really making it. And so I think if they're doing that, they should have it the Mandalorians versus the Empire or the First Order, and kind of have it, this is what was the main battle going on in the galaxy up until The Force Awakens and all of that.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the show should go.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But okay, so we should all mention that Yeah, so basically, Jon Favreau wrote 5 episodes, right? Or 6 episodes.
Mhm.
6 episodes. And episodes 5 and 6,
Mhm.
completely pointless.
Yeah.
They literally just brought somebody else in for each episode to write
Mhm.
a standalone episode that
Yes.
doesn't serve the rest of the story. Because we do have Cara Dune from episode 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's nobody from episode 5 or episode 6. And episode 5 even ended with that weird, figure appearing by the whatever. Like you just see like the boots of them or whatever approaching the dead bounty.
Yeah.
Like just before the credits, and it's like, well, that still hasn't gone anywhere. So what was the point of that?
Yeah.
Season 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Do we want to wrap this up here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
So-
good. So we don't get episode 8 for a week and a half or so because everybody's going to go and watch Rise of Skywalker. So
Including me.
yeah. So Tyler, you pay attention to see if you're catching anything from The Mandalorian because I am curious about that.
Yeah.
Yes, will do. Yeah, I will do my best, and then I will also do my research afterwards.
Right.
Once I get home, then I'll be like, okay, wait, did I miss anything? And yeah, there will be tons of videos about that, some of which are no good, and some of which will actually be helpful.
Yeah.
The ending should be Baby Yoda, but full grown, fighting Palpatine and beating him. And he is actually the chosen one.
Yes. All right, folks.
It should have been called The Rise of Baby Yoda, not The Rise of Skywalker.
I know. I would go see that. I
Me
think
too.
everybody would go see that if
Yeah.
it was Rise of Baby Yoda. Yeah, everyone would be on board for that. They break all kinds of records.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, feel free to comment below and like, share, and subscribe and all of that stuff. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
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 Ignore the bell, people. We're gonna keep going. We're still ignoring it. Don't worry. I don't know what that. I think that's the fire drill. All right. We're gonna go home. Yeah. All right. We're done.